What stood out, Dakota, about the way you guys were able to get the job done in Laval on Saturday?
Yeah, I think the resiliency. Going into that building, that's a tough building. They were on their toes the whole series, but we just stuck with our plan and stayed disciplined and stayed with it.
What is the atmosphere like there?
I mean, it's honestly, it's like you hear about it being like a mini Bell Center. It has that same atmosphere, the same drive to it, the same, and they feed off that. So we know we got Game 5 there. They push the game back to make sure the building's going to be full, and but it brings a lot of energy for us too. Like we want to play in a full building and play in an atmosphere like that, so it was good.
All right, so your celebration went a little viral on social media. What inspired the beer chug there?
I think it's just a fun rivalry. It's a a very intense series. I think that at the end of the day, I think the fans were just saying cheers on a good, hard-fought series, and so just enjoying that with them.
What were the reaction you got from anyone? I guess did it stand out after that kind of took off?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess obviously the way that the camera it just happened to catch that. I mean, like the way the camera was positioned kind of just caught it perfectly. But just a lot of, again, just there's a lot of emotion when that series ends, and there's stuff falling from the sky, and a lot of people reaching out. A lot of people end up seeing that you obviously don't expect. It's just a little thing that happened, and just try to have fun with it.
Now there was no beer left in the can there, I don't think.
No. Yeah, no, we avoided any of that. It was pretty low when I picked it up.
And what was the celebration like for you guys just after the game? Forget about on the ice, but like your sense of satisfaction as a group after that game.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Like I said, they especially like they came out. They were rested 10 days coming into Game 1. Came out really physical. We stayed with it. We wore a lot on the chin. We stayed extremely disciplined. Poked back where we could, knowing that overall, like they were a team that would kind of get undisciplined if you stayed disciplined and stayed. They wanted a hard game, but kind of only if it came easy. And so if you made that hard for them to be a hard team, but that's hard to do in saying that. And so there was a lot of, bumps and bruises, and, guys had to swallow their pride in a lot of situations. And so I think when you finally, kind of pull off that win and you finish that series, come back in the third, just a lot of excitement, a lot of confidence, a lot of, again, we played in 2 do-or-die games, Game 7s, if you will, at that point, and so it brings a lot of confidence. Just always good to beat a rival, especially in the playoffs in their building. So it was good, big confidence builder.
How much did you appreciate how they were obviously trying to get to Artur? He's a young goalie. The bumps, everything they were doing. Like, what did you appreciate about how he handled everything?
Well, we call him the king for a reason, and we're so lucky too. Like with both of our goaltenders, on any night, and like teams will say that a lot of time, but like we truly have that, like 2 just exceptional goaltenders that like you don't even pay attention to which one's playing that night because you're in good shape. But yeah, I mean he essentially ends up setting up that game winner. Their guy. Again, kind of takes an undisciplined penalty on him in front of the net. We end up getting in a 4-on-4 situation out of that in the O zone, and we score 5 seconds off the face-off. So he's such a strong guy. He knows he's a gamer. And so, yeah, again, he stood in there. They were bringing a lot at him into his crease, and he just stays in there and does his job and stays calm. Like, you can't shake him.
You call him the king?
Call him the king, yeah. It's the king.
What was the genesis of that?
I have no idea. I think that was already going before I got here. Okay. And so, that's our king.